Hello, everybody, wherever you might be. I don't really need to explain it because, as you know, this is NBL Overtime right around Australia. Get involved. Simple. Hashtag NBL Overtime right there. All our socials. A lot to get into. Homicide, hello to you.
What's going on?
Oh, I'm excited. You pumped?
Nah, I'm pissed.
Okay, good. We'll get to that in a moment. Liam Santa Maria has 38 jobs, but NBL Overtime by far your most important.
100.
All right, perfect. FIBA, let's go. FIBA break, reset. 2 weeks off. The Boomers are about to do their thing, but it's a good time for NBL clubs to go, all right, this is where we're at. This is where we want to get to. What changes we're going to make. And there's been a fair bit of whisper the last week or so that Craig Randall might be in a little bit of trouble. And the Adelaide 36ers have said, yep, that is correct, and they have parted ways. Here is the press release the 36ers have put out. It's by mutual, as we see, mutual consent, effective from today. It's been made in the best interest of Craig and the club moving forward, and for Craig to pursue other opportunities at the highest level. They go on to say, as you can see, they want to thank Craig for his time at the club. Probably specifically should have thanked him for doing what he did against the Phoenix Suns when they made history. Nick Marshall will now be a part of our 11-man roster, but they will look to find an import. Homicide, I'm coming to you first because you named these three with Franks and Cleveland as the most talented trio in NBL history. And a week later, one of them's gone. What do you make of it?
A couple of things come to mind. In life, you're either asset or liability. He's a liability. The saddest thing in life is wasted talent. I say that a lot. He's arguing with coaches. He's arguing with teammates. I played with players that have been argumentative, and because of the talent, we figured out a way to make it work. This is really sad. You know what I mean? I believed in him. I believed in that trio because obviously I know what I saw, like we all saw in Phoenix. We saw the scoring ability. We saw when this team is rolling how they look. It wasn't even close. I would put my money on them. I lost. I would have lost clearly, but I would do it again based off of what I saw, the little sample size of what I saw. I saw when they went to Sydney what they did in Sydney. I saw that. You got a defensive player of the year and you got 2 MVP candidates, 2 superstars. You put that together, 100%. I would say it again. If this didn't happen, I would say it again. Here's what I'm going to say about Craig Randall II. To Craig Randall II. It's disappointing. I reached out to you and spoke to you. I had your back. And to see your body language continue, to see you arguing with the head coach that believed in you, several coaches, your teammates, nobody wants to play with you. It can't be them. At some point, if 10 people saying, it's you, it's you, it's you, you're a hooper, you're not a pro. There's a difference. Unprofessionalism is what you lack. That's what's going to hurt you more than help you. It don't get no realer than me with what I'm saying. I reached out to you. I told you things you need to do. I told you how this country is, okay? Meaning, that nonsense that you do, or wherever you came from, you can't do that here, okay? Curb this, change this. What happened? You didn't do your part. You didn't do yours. It ain't nobody's fault but yours. How can a player do what you have been able to do against the Phoenix Suns? 4 months later, your life changes. All you got to do is keep it together and hoop. The ball's in your hand. You getting the minutes. You getting all the opportunity. What more can a player ask for? All you got to do is chill. You understand what I'm saying? You can't do that. And let me explain something to you. Despite what happened in the NBA when you were there with Phoenix preseason, you're a fringe NBA player. You know the first thing they ask about fringe players, bigger than your ability? Are you a good person? Is he coachable? It don't even matter if you're a good person or not. You're not coachable. Your problem in the locker room, X. Next guy on the list. Good luck to you. This is the harsh reality of where you at today. Understand, this is the hottest league in the world outside the NBA. Everybody's looking down here. So I'm sure this ain't the first time this happened. This would have happened in the D-League. So all you did was double down on whatever the stigma was about you. You proved them right. Good luck, man.
Yeah, you're 100% correct. Great words. And hopefully he heeds them, because it did happen in the G League. Long Island asked him to step away from the team with 5 games left in that season, averaging 28 points per game. You're right. The talent is unbelievable. It's not all about talent. That's why a guy like Matthew Dellavedova is in the league and Craig Randall is not. I mean, this guy is one of the league leading scorers but
unbelievable.
But it was on show, and it was apparent very early in the preseason. I mean, this is what the guy can do.
Unbelievable.
On the floor, when things are rolling, he is extraordinarily talented. But are you a good teammate? Are you a good member of the team when things go awry? Yeah, in the good moments, when things are going well, it's good. But when things are going poorly, we saw a lot of this. From the very first game of preseason, arguing, like you say, Corey, with the coach, with the teammates. I'm told that there was a blow-up that was the straw that broke the camel's back at shoot-around ahead of the Perth game, when he was told that he was going to be coming off the bench, and it wasn't handled well. And that was really where it became untenable. Sometimes there's things that are said and things that are done that you can't come back from, and from there, the team was going to part ways. And it's unfortunate, because you're right, CJ and that organisation really tried hard to make it work, because they saw, hey, the ceiling, if we can get to that point with this guy, with this group, is really high. But unfortunately, the floor was really low because of the attitude issues. So that's the situation, and now he needs to take a big hard look at how he's going to approach things moving forward, because that reputation, unfortunately, now is only growing.
All right, what do they do? Now, we've seen the statement, Nick Marshall will be elevated. We've got 2 weeks before they play again, so they've got a little bit of time, and the COVID times are behind us, from where you have to do quarantine, so you can roll guys in relatively quickly. Do they roll with the 2? They played really well without him last Thursday night. Daniel Johnson in particular got a lot better looks than he has early to start the year. Do you take it out of that one game and think, let's try without it? What would you do right now? You go and chase one aggressively, or do you allow the season unfold a bit before adding someone else in?
I'm going to get an import.
Yeah,
straight in?
You go.
Let me explain something to you.
All right.
It was Illawarra.
That's also...
Anybody could beat Illawarra. They ain't good. So you can't gauge that based off of Illawarra.
I also true, but it's also Daniel Johnson, who has done that for a decade, so it's not like a development play job.
I'm going to get another import.
Yes.
It's a great opportunity right now to do that. They would be, they would be aggressively going right now for potentially Jalen Adams. Will they get him? I don't know. But my point is, with that window open, they should be aggressively looking for a replacement.
The tricky thing, which is worth flagging, was because of all these reputational issues, Craig Randall was on, from a talent perspective, one of the best value contracts in the league, certainly from the team's angle. So there's a lot of money spent on Robert Franks. There's a lot of money spent on Antonius Cleveland. DJ Mitch McCarron, Sunday, these guys are on solid contracts. So there's not Jalen Adams type of money to spend. I mean, unless Grant Kelly just says, to hell with it, let's just go crazy.
That
but
is
in terms of getting into the luxury tax.
I agree, but that is a realistic possibility, because clearly the frustration was there in the off-season that they had been struggling. They're spending more money now than they have for a number of years. Now that they go to that next level, I grant what you're saying, pun intended. But I'm also like, I also see the situation where they're like, we are this far into this bad boy.
Yeah.
Like, if we don't go even that next level, all this money might be
You don't need a
waste.
superstar. You don't need a Jalen Adams. You actually need a guy coming off the bench. If you bring in right now, you can Mitch McCarron, Robert Franks, Antonius Cleveland, these guys can rock out. Anthony Drimmick, Sunday Detch, role players. You need a scorer off the bench to make this work.
Here's what they need to do now. Now that the problem child is gone, step your game up. Because defensively, you guys suck. So now he's gone. Now let's see what y'all about. Because a lot of times when there is somebody that's a problem, it's easy to just jump on that. And it's his fault. But it's easy to just add it. Oh, it's because of him. It's him. He's gone. What you about now, Adelaide? I want to see that. And it starts in the defensive end. That ain't got nothing to do with him.
And this is what we talked about when they put this team together. All right, you got some guys on the perimeter that can defend. Sunday Detch is going to play a bit more now, which I think is good for their defense. But the front court, Robert Franks, Daniel Johnson, Kai Soto, what are you getting done at the defensive end of the floor?
See, I would wait I would wait a couple of games, couple of weeks, and see. They're going to be better defensively Sunday coming into that starting lineup, right? If
Wait?
you wait, yep. Well, they are.
You want to wait?
I would wait and do almost similar to what Sydney did last year, bringing Ian Clark in around Christmas, early New Year, and that's a challenge. It is a challenge and it's a risk. But then you can get a higher caliber guy who might fit the build to come off the bench and be a major scorer. If they bring I don't think they're going to go and chase an import to come off the bench right now. I think they come to bring an import to start. I think if you're able to conjure up defensively a better effort than they have, which shouldn't be too hard based on what we've seen so far, I reckon they can get to Christmas with the talent they have and have a guy come in and have a real crack at this thing.
That's a big call.
It is a big call.
This is the perfect time. You see why there's teams all over. Brisbane, Melbourne, everyone's in the market right now. Fever break. You've got an opportunity to get a guy signed, bring him in.
Do they have a guy signed, do you think?
No.
Okay. Just quickly, you mentioned Jalen Adams, social media a buzz, of course, released last week, which means, hang on a second, he's out of Serbia. Will he be back? This is what he said to Matt Logue on News Corps. There you go, it's home. Not without. So
He ain't coming.
Well, I don't
basically
think,
what that said.
when he made that comment, I also believe, I don't think he's coming either. But there wasn't actually a job in Australia with massive cash, right, available when he made that comment, right?
Right.
So if he makes the comment, and you can speak to this, but like if he makes the comment last week, I want to come back to the NBL, that automatically puts pressure on import players within the league, right? I don't think he's coming, but I also don't 100% rule it out if the cash is right, but geez, you got to pay a bit to get him.
Big time.
You have to pay a bit to get him. Devondrick Walker. Craig Randall dominates. Unfortunately, a couple of days earlier, Brisbane made their decision. Not overly unexpected, Liam.
Look, the biggest ability is availability. And my understanding out of Brisbane is Devondrick Walker was just never available to play and never available to train. And things would just kind of always seem to be keeping him off the floor. And so Brisbane have made the decision, listen, we're gonna move on now. We're going to look elsewhere. Now, again, they don't have a lot of money to just splash around. Big money on Baines and Johnson and Sobey and these kind of players. So they need to find a guy that fits. I think they need a guy to play the 3 and the 4. So there's some guys that they're looking at, is my understanding, but nothing necessarily in place right now.
I think for me, history suggests as well that I feel Adelaide are more likely to spend and get into to the luxury tax than Brisbane are, right? Am I somewhat correct on this? So what do Brisbane do? Because again, they've paid more money than they probably have in recent years. They went and gave Baines the bag, Nathan Sobey, these guys are paid well, Johnson likewise. You don't want to be half pregnant and sort of be right sort of there and just finish 5th or 6th. It's an interesting conversation next couple of weeks.
3 straight wins. They're turning it around. I mean, they trying to do everything to give that game away.
Yeah.
That fourth quarter, the last 5 minutes, Jesus. Did they even score?
It was wild.
It was wild.
And the other two were Illawarra.
Yeah. So it's like, there's still some work to be done. There's still some work to be done.
They're like the get-right team, Illawarra. Right? Are you struggling?
Go get Illawarra.
Go with Illawarra and get right. I'm sorry. I mean...
Look, it's hard to argue it.
You ain't lying.
Illawarra comes up in a little bit. Hey, Brady Manek. A week ago, we were talking about him.
Wow.
You said if you're not going to be able to play high-level defence, which is not something a lot of people expect from him, you need to be able to dominate at the other end. He did that. Ironically, on Saturday night, Craig Randall's last game, Brady Manek was able to roll in and get the job done. And this is exactly what he needs to do. He's no defensive superstar, but at the other end, he can be really good. He's got to knock down shots. Liam, this is what he has to do.
This is what he's here for. 100%,
is.
this is what he's here for. Now, Corey talks about it. In that 4th spot, you've got to have a guy who can knock down shots, the Wildcats. They need a Nick Kay type in that spot who can pick and pop and knock down shots, and that's what Brady Manek needs to be. They need a guy on the wing who can score like a Tariko White. That's what Todd Blanchfield needs to be getting done right now. But this was a really impressive response from Manek. Finally just starting to do what he did at UNC, what the Wildcats need him to do, and he blew up. 25 points, hit a whole bunch of threes, and was really the key factor for them winning that game. Now the challenge is, can you do it on a consistent basis? Heck, David Ware hit a big shot that saved his season. Manek hit a whole bunch of big shots in that game. We know he can do it consistently. The question is, does he get it done?
It was impressive, but it was important. and again, I know we harp on it a lot, he's a rookie, right? But this ain't the league. You don't have 82 games to figure it out. You got to turn this thing around quick, and that was under pressure. I believe he don't come out with that game. That's his job. You can't go 6 straight L's and you underperform 6 straight games and keep a job. The writing was all on the wall. Well, in the paper for that matter, right? It was all over. So he would know. He would feel it. He's a competitor, and he would know that, okay, look, I'm severely underperforming, and for me this is performance-based. Like, if I don't show up tonight, I could be on a flight. So he performed, and he showed up, and again, he's going to have to be consistent with it, and hopefully that game was the game to build his confidence and let him know he's a player and he belongs in this league.
I forgot David Ware got 15 extra games because he hit one shot against Perth. There you go. But you've also got to sometimes back these talented guys in. They did it, failed. The Kings I'm talking about a few years ago.
David Ware was with Sydney, right?
Yes, sir.
When they beat Perth in Perth.
And
he hit that shot.
They're like, man, have a contract extension. It was our man.
All
right, you can stay the rest
That was crazy. Oh, man.
Hey, plenty more NBL overtime on the other side of this.
Oh, forgot about that.
Dunk of the year. Here's Bruce. Denoy, the birthday boy. Oh, he's got it! Oh, my goodness.
Brown Jr. Potts knocks it down. Brown.
There is some energy around this Breakers group right now.
Taipans want to be a contender this season. And they make a statement. Cairns keep it rolling. Pass intercepted. Shannon Scott saw what was coming and had Paul Quayle for the jam.
They are going to be so fun to watch all season long.
Welcome back to NBL Overtime. 1, 2, 3 on the ladder. Kings, Breakers, Taipans. And they've had an impressive start to the year. Who's impressed? Who has not? Let us know. Hashtag NBL Overtime. I'm going to start with you, Homicide. Who has impressed you the most? NBL 22.
3.
23.
I think it's 3, is it?
Come on, mate.
Is it 23 already?
You're lagging.
Oh, well, Melbourne Cup week's taking it out of me. I will not show
Dude,
away
who
from
you
that.
telling?
Hit me.
Cairns and New Zealand, both. Very impressive. Obviously, we know last 2 years how hard it's been for New Zealand. So for them to be where they're at in the ladder and how they're playing with a new head coach has been very impressive. And Cairns, obviously, we usually used to seeing them struggle. And for them to be balling the way they're balling under their coach, they've been impressive.
Apparently it's NBL 23, man. Who's impressing you?
I've got both those teams as well. I was ready to take whichever one you didn't, and you took them both. Which, look, Sydney have also, you know, like on the back of losing one of the best import trios of all time and a championship-winning group, they've done tremendously well to be sitting back on top of the ladder. But let me speak specifically about New Zealand. We spoke about it last week on the show. Really, really tough schedule. In fact, Cairns had a really tough road-heavy schedule to begin the season. So for them to be at this point, both those teams, off the back of that, is really, really impressive. And it's the talent there, the offensive talent. I love the buy-in. You've got imports coming off the bench. Shannon Scott coming off the bench to begin that season. Barry Brown Jr., one of the league-leading scorers, an absolute bucket, coming off the bench. Really great buy-in. And at the defensive end, geez, they're first and third in defensive efficiency, those two teams. And as a result, they are in every game. And when they're not, like they weren't against Sydney, the Breakers, they're able to work their way back.
The defensive intensity of Cairns in particular. Friday night was going to be interesting. Injuries, key injuries as well. Melbourne rolling in after a couple of wins. Everyone thought they were starting to get a bit of a roll on. But the buy-in from everybody, it feels like 1 to 15. They've probably got 4 or 5 guys practicing just on a Tuesday and Thursday who are buying into what Adam Ford is doing. And that's a big plus to these coaches who may not have the budget. And the whole us against the world thing sometimes can wear a little thin over long term. I don't feel it's going to wear thin with these particular teams, in particular Cairns. I'm almost as impressed in a team in one particular game with Cairns on Friday night more than anyone else.
Well, then let me ask you these questions. I think that the Breakers are championship contenders. I think that they are legit, what they've brought to the table and what their group's getting done. Do you guys feel the same way about the Taipans? You love them. You said you love them.
I do love them. I think I'll make the play. I think I'll make the 6, right? I think I'll make the 6.
No, can they win the title?
No, but that's probably preconceived ideas around Cairns and a team being able to do this for 25 weeks.
Well, I don't think they could win it. I haven't seen enough yet for me to think they can win the title. I still need to see a little bit more.
You with me on the Breakers?
They've been very impressive. I don't think yet that they're title contenders yet. I need to see more. Just
quickly, I must preface this by saying I didn't think they could win the title 3 odd years ago, and they went within close. 1 game, and in fact 1 point of it took Bryce Cotton 10 threes to make that series Perth 1-0 rather than other way. So but that'd be great stories. Last year I didn't think Tassie could win the championship as well.
Imagine that grand final series. I would love that.
Who?
New Zealand Cairns.
Who's underwhelmed? Who's the number 1 most underwhelming team right now?
Go ahead first, Liam.
I'm going to take Adelaide. She's on the back of what they did in the States. So we both picked them as the champions.
Yep.
Coming into the very start of the season based on all of that. The ceiling was...
No, I actually picked Perth. I said they were in the finals, grand finals against Perth.
All right. Were you with me on Adelaide? No. Okay. I was on my own. The ceiling was higher than any other team had with that group. But unfortunately, the floor has been where they've existed a lot of this time. What have they been? They're last in defensive efficiency. And as a result, 7th ranked offense in the league. It didn't click. There's still a lot of talent on that team. You're right, a little bit of moving and shaking. Randall out, maybe somebody else in, see what they can do. But that team, to have only 3 wins after their first 7 games on the back of who they have and what they've been able to do in pre-season has been really disappointing.
They're second. Illawarra. The last 2 years, top 4. A game away. Last season, they got swept to go to the chip. Fair enough. The year before that, a game away from getting to the grand final.
No, they were a game away last season as well.
No, they got swept.
They got swept.
No.
Sydney swept them.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah. But the success that they had the last 2 seasons, Dori Kodahi steps down or steps away or whatever. With that, Gorgon out of there. And for them to be in a league where it's very difficult to beat teams on a nightly basis, for them to be 1-8, that is sad. That's what that is. That's all I got, man. That's sad what's going on over there.
Jeez, Brisbane are lucky to get out of this conversation.
They are.
3 straight?
Hashtag NBL Overtime. They beat the team twice.
3 straight.
It's whacked. Quick break, plenty more on the other side of this.
For 2 more. Williams on the glass.
Outstanding from Big Sauce.
NBL Overtime, still the best shoe ever made. He's rolling the Jordan 4 cements.
Forget the line back, right? We're just gonna went straight to the
Hey,
sneak.
a little bit of short yes or no, but yes or no. The security guard should know who he is, right?
By now.
Come on. Come on. He went to work as well the moment he did that nice little warm-up. Just quickly, yes or no, do we have any idea if Melbourne United are good or bad? Legitimately.
They're all over the place.
They
You
are.
mentioned DJ Newell last week.
Yeah.
Talking about Melbourne United?
No. I just thought about him in the league.
Okay.
What are you hearing?
Maybe DJ Newell, Regent Tucker.
Are they good or bad, Melbourne? Friday night was the worst game I've ever seen
One
Melbourne
for
United
the
play.
other, or
Apparently. I think that's what Cam was alluding to.
No, I wasn't alluding to him. I don't know what's going on. Hashtag NBL Overtime. Are they good or bad?
I don't like them.
You don't like them still?
I don't. They're not good.
They're not good?
They're not good. It's just Chris Goulden
Yeah.
owned the throwdown in Melbourne United and Southeast Melbourne Phoenix.
Oh, mate, Brock off. I actually watched him shoot. By the time I'd walked around the other end of the side of the court, he'd done his hammy. So thoughts out to a man very close to NBL Overtime. All right, we're getting out of here. No real time for yes or no. So the only question right now is yes or no. Is the show finished? Yes. See you next week.